Hi, good people. So today I want to talk about the transfiguration that happened to Jesus. And that comes from the book of Matthew. I'm going to be reading from Matthew chapter 17 from verse 1 to 9. That is Matthew chapter 17, verse 1 to 9. And I start. Now, after 6 days, Jesus took Peter, James, and John, his brother, led them up on a mountain by themselves, and he was transfigured before them. His face shone like the sun, and his clothes became as white as light. And behold, Moses and Elijah appeared to them, talking with him. Then Peter answered and said to Jesus, Lord, is it good for us to be here? If you wish, let us make here 3 tabernacles, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah. While he was still speaking, behold, a bright cloud overshadowed them. And suddenly a voice came out of the cloud saying, This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Hear him. And when the disciples heard it, they fell on their faces and were greatly afraid. But Jesus came and touched them and said, Arise and do not be afraid. When they had lifted up their eyes, they saw no one but Jesus alone. Now, as they came down from the mountain, Jesus commanded them, saying, Tell the vision to no one until the Son of Man is risen and dead. Now, this is a very interesting topic because we see Jesus has taken his 3 disciples. He has taken John, he has taken Peter, and he has taken James. And they've gone up the mountain. And as they are up the mountain, Jesus starts to transfigure. He starts taking a different form or shape. He starts taking a different form. He starts looking different. He starts radiating light to the point whereby his face was, the Bible says that he became like the sun. His face shone like the sun. This is interesting because when the Israelites in the Old Testament were being given the 10 commandments, Moses was up the mountain. And when he came down with the 10 commandments, his face was glowing and radiant. So this is to show us that the more we get closer to God, we start taking a different form. Light starts coming from within us. And this is shown that as he was there transforming, guess what? His forefathers appear. That is Moses and Elijah. Now, I need you to understand that between this time of Jesus transforming and him, Moses appearing, it had taken about 4,000 years. 4,000 years, and this guy comes back and reappears as he encounters them. Jesus encounters Moses and Elijah 4,000 like presently, and yet Moses was around 4,000 before Christ. Why am I saying this? I always strongly believe that there is a thin line between spirituality and culturalism. These are his forefathers. Moses has appeared 4,000 before. He came back to the mountain. But yet before Christ he was there 4,000 years ago. Why am I saying this? Sometimes we may meet our forefathers in our dreams, in our prayer life, yet we may ignore the messages they are giving us. If you're meeting someone like this, remember Jesus is Jew. So he's meeting one of his many relatives many years ago. And they have come to fellowship with him at the mountain. Jesus, in the olden days when God came, he always came as a cloud on the mountain. Remember during by the time God appeared to Moses, he came in as a cloud, and they said there was an overwhelming bright cloud which overshadowed them. Behold, a bright cloud overshadowed them. That's the move of God. And the best thing is there is assurance. Despite what my son will go through, he will die, but he will resurrect. This is my son, and I am pleased with him. Jesus transforms. I also believe that Moses represented the law, Elijah represented the prophet, and then Jesus. These are three key people. Jesus represents the new covenant because he has to die and then he will resurrect. At some point, especially when people are praying, most of the times you don't realize, but you become something else. Your senses become alert. Jesus' lifestyle was a lifestyle of prayer. That is why his disciples didn't tell him, teach us how to do miracles. No. They said, teach us how to pray. Because it shows us his prayer life had results. It is time to start living as Jesus lived. Transfiguration is taking another form. As you're praying, may you take another form. May light beget light. Thank you.